Bill O'Reilly went on Chris Cuomo and dropped a shocking bomb about what Comcast's plans are for MSNBC's Morning Joe and The View. Cuomo and his guest, Stephen A. Smith, were literally left speechless after Riley's honestly epic rant in the clip that you're about to see. Joe Rogan was probably the maddest that I have ever seen him on his podcast as he talked about how the New York Times fact-checked RFK Jr. And we had to bleep out all of the F-bombs in the clip that I'm about to show you. And finally, Representative Jasmine Crockett went off on an absolutely racist tirade on the floor of Congress in a clip that is sadly going crazy viral. I'm Zach Costello, and this is the Zach Costello Show. Representative Jasmine Crockett went off on a racist tirade on the floor of Congress, and I talk about this stuff every single day, but when I saw this, it left me speechless. Watch this.
Is because you can then misuse words like oppression. There has been no oppression for the white man in this country. You tell me which white men were dragged out of their homes. You tell me which one of them got dragged all the way across an ocean and told that you are going to go and work. We are going to steal your wives. We are going to rape your wives. That didn't happen. That is oppression. We didn't ask to be here. We're not the same migrants that y'all constantly come up against. We didn't run away from home. We were stolen. So yeah, we are going to sit here and be offended when you want to sit here and act like, and don't let it escape you that it is white men on this side of the aisle telling us, people of color on this side of the aisle, that y'all are the ones being oppressed, that y'all are the ones that are being harmed.
Tell me how many people of color on that side of the aisle were dragged out of their homes or sent across the ocean or whose wives were raped. Tell me how many people on that side of the aisle that happened to. Look, all I can say is this. We need to move beyond this racial divisiveness in this country. America is the model of freedom for all people, regardless of race, sex, ethnicity, etc. We don't want this, and the American people are tired of this racist, misogynist rhetoric. Continue to do this, and you will continue to lose. Speaking of something else that Americans are sick and tired of, being sick and tired. Joe Rogan went off on leftist influencers and media outlets in the clip that you are about to see. RFK Jr. put out what chemicals are in Fruit Loops and compared how Fruit Loops were made in the United States versus Canada. The New York Times then fact-checked him on this, which is what Rogan absolutely goes off on here. Watch this.
All these left-wing kooks on YouTube are hemorrhaging subscribers, where people go, you guys are out of touch, you're not accurate, you're delusional, and people are speaking with their subscriptions, and they're speaking with their purchasing of the Washington Post, and they're purchasing the New York Times. The New York Times just debunked, in the most insane way, debunked RFK Jr.'s assertion that the ingredients in Fruit Loops are different in Canada than they are in the United States. They fact-checked it while saying he was accurate. So their fact check, it's so dumb when you see I tweeted it. I know. The fact check is so dumb because the fact check says it's not correct. They have the same ingredients except for these harmful chemicals. Look at this. Mr. Kennedy has singled out Fruit Loops as an example of a product with too many artificial ingredients, questioning why the Canadian version has fewer than the U.S. version. But he was wrong. The ingredient list is roughly the same, although Canada's has natural colorings made from blueberries and carrots, while the U.S. product contains red dye 40, yellow 5, and blue 1, as well as butylated hydroxytoluene, or BHT, a lab-made chemical that is used for freshness, according to the ingredient label. That is the dangerous chemicals that are banned in Canada that we're trying to get rid of in America, and that of RFK. So they're literally saying he was wrong, but he was right. What the New York Times is doing. So, of course, you're going to hemorrhage subscribers. Of course. You're crazy. You're saying something that's nuts. And also, what is your motivation? Like, what's your motivation for removing potentially harmful and toxic chemicals? If someone is trying to do that for the greater health of the population, if we're saying that these things have been eliminated in other countries because they've been proven to be dangerous, what is your motivation for saying he was wrong?
Money.
Well,
I mean, what else could it be?
Clearly.
Monsanto,
Ideology, you know, left-wing rejection of RFK Jr. because now he's connected to Trump. It's like you go down this weird rabbit hole with these people, and you're like, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to remove all leftover credibility? Are you trying to eliminate because you lost so much credibility? Are you trying to kill it all? Are you secretly working for the Chinese? Like, what are you doing?
That's the question. What is your motivation to work against getting this crap out of our food so that Americans can be healthier? Why would the New York Times be against that? You, right or left, have to ask yourself why. You have to be so lost or bought, but so lost and deep into ideology to believe that this is not a good thing. But as Rogan says here, this is why those who are doing this type of stuff are losing subscribers and gushing viewership, which is what Bill O'Reilly gets at here. Bill O'Reilly went on Chris Cuomo and dropped a bomb about what Comcast's plans are for MSNBC's Morning Joe and The View, and Cuomo and Stephen A. Smith, who was a guest on his show, were literally left speechless after this. This is both brutal and hilarious. Watch.
Comcast said, you two, we're going to have to try to mend some cliche fences, and you two are going to go in there and you're going to try to tamp it down. Because Comcast knew the next day they were going to announce that MSNBC is vapor. That is a huge media story.
Why is it
Enormous.
vapor? Just because they're
There is
spinning it
no
off
more-
and putting them in the... Well, they're spinning off a bunch
There's
of
no
brands.
spin-off.
There is. It's a spin-off company.
There's no spin-off. See, you buy the propaganda, Cuomo.
Oh, okay.
See what I mean about
I'm just
smart
saying what's
people?
being reported.
All right.
But what do you know?
Yeah, I know, but why would you believe what's being reported? You want the real story? Here
Yes,
it comes.
please.
So they're uncoupling their word, Comcast, MSNBC from NBC News. That means MSNBC has no resources at all. None. They're not going to be able to pay these people millions of dollars, Rachel Maddow, whatever she's making. NBC News is saying, we don't want you around. Why? Because NBC News' numbers, Lester Holt and the Today Show, are catastrophe because half the country equates NBC News with MSNBC and they won't watch. So NBC is desperately trying to save the mothership of information, and they have to throw MSNBC overboard. They're not putting anything into MSNBC. They want to sell it. So where's Georgie Soros now? Georgie's buying radio stations. You can get MSNBC for nothing. They'll give it to you. They don't want any more of this. Why? Because it's hateful. Not because it's so far left. The whole NBC Comcast hierarchy is far left. But it's hateful. They hate Trump. They hate people who vote for Trump. Everybody knows that. And you know what's next? The View. ABC News is going to have to cut ties with The View. And you saw that today or yesterday when Sunny Hostin had to read a legal statement in the middle of a segment. The lawyers got Whoopi Goldberg's ear and it said, we're bringing a statement in on a teleprompter. She reads it. So it is over for these far left networks. Done, never coming back. Dracula's stake in the heart. Who benefits? News Nation may, but CNN, which is on the ropes too, will probably get some MSNBC viewers.
Wow.
There you go.
What do you think of that?
Well, I'm certainly not going to accuse him of not making sense.
Oh, man. Dracula, stake in the heart. And you see why. Rogan hit on it. O'Reilly hit on it. Representative Jasmine Crockett continued to push out the agenda that the American people just reject. Hateful. We want nothing to do with it. And the more these individuals and entities work against the interests of the American people, the more they will continue to lose. We are awake. I'm Zach Costello, and this is the Zach Costello Show.